Let's call to order the Wilton Community School District Monday, March 14, 2016 school board meeting at 5 p.m. The mission of the Wilton Community School District is to provide an education that encourages continual progress through improvement of one's abilities, the expansion of one's interests and knowledge, and the growth of one's character. Call to order, roll call please. Joy?
Linda Duncan.
Here.
Bonnie Hurst.
Here.
Gary Mauer.
Here.
Rob Metzger.
Here.
And Tara Owen.
Here. All right, agenda approval. Any additions, changes, or corrections, Mr. Burnett?
Just for the record, I know tonight's meeting will be a little quicker than normal, so if anything comes up, I apologize, but
Okay.
certainly we will revisit if we need to revisit.
Okay.
But nothing to add.
Move to approve the agenda.
I second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, minutes approval. We do the first one quickly. February 8th, the special meeting.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of the February 8th special meeting.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. February 8th, regular meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the February 8th regular meeting.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. February 24th, special meeting.
Move to approve the February 24th special meeting.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Lastly, the February 24th work session.
Move to approve the February 24th work session.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Correspondence, 0. Public forum?
Yes, John Mann is here to talk about demolition bid process and answer any questions you have and just give a general construction update, see where we're at. If you want to move up there, John, you can.
All right.
It's kind of
Come join
have
us.
a seat here if I
Come
can, or
on.
you can stand, wherever you want to do.
All right, so Joe has 2 copies of the specs for demolition, if you want to look at
Glance the
those.
room if you want.
It's the complete building demolition plus some alternates for additional demolition pieces. The demolition bids we have due at the end of the month, with the board giving a contract approval at the next regular board meeting. So that gives us a little time to figure things out. With the demolition, it's essentially tearing down the building, hauling away the waste, and repairing the site to somewhat even conditions. We did put in the option for using Brett Grings' property as a potential dump location for anything that's legal to put in that location. We also made available the stockpile of soil, which is on this piece of property. Those 2 things should help the overall costing of the building, but also help the timing because both are in closer proximity than going to the landfill for dumping and going to some other stockpile location. So we think that'll help with timing and hopefully price. The alternates, the way we did this is the entire building comes down as a base bid. We have an additive alternate to take down the latchkey building. So instead of what do you say to not do it, it's what do you do to add it. We have an additive alternate to take away the playgrounds and that corresponding paving. And then we did one deduct alternate to just leave a piece of the building, the 74 wing, in the event that it can be used for a potential development piece, at least know what the value is. My guess is that that's going to be something we don't want to entertain because we're going to rather turn over a clean, fresh site. But at least it gives us an idea if there's any value to that. So that's the demolition. Any questions on that?
And we're still looking at it after July 4th, basically.
Yes, we did it as, we said July 5th.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's what I meant.
the intent is to be done before the start of the school year. We also did make mention that the district will come in and pull out plumbing fixtures. Joe Raggets wanted to pull out plumbing fixtures, get the copper pieces out. The other thing is we did mention that you all would potentially go in and have an auction and strip out some things that you want. That's not going to be anything that's of an alarming nature to a demolition crew, because in general, anything that's fixed and in place, they have to take with them.
You guys have any questions on the demolition process?
So it's, we have a pre-bid meeting next week on Wednesday. Kevin and I are going to meet at, I think 11 o'clock on Wednesday. Give the contractors, because you're all on spring break, it'll give us an opportunity to plug through and just look at a few things. Not sure if anybody will show up, but at least it gives them the opportunity to lay eyes on what they're tearing down before they put a price together. You may, Denise, get calls over there for somebody that wants to come in, just verify it with Kevin before you let somebody go wandering through.
So would this involve removing all the foundation footers, and whether it's
Yeah, it's
sub-frost
complete.
or not?
Yep, it's complete. Everything goes down to the bottom of the footings and gets filled back in with dirt. We did not do a high compaction on the dirt though. It's sort of a dump in the hole and walk away. If it was going to be parkland, it would be adequate for that. It's not going to be adequate to build something on without addressing. But somebody that constructs on that property is going to have to dig down that far anyway to put their foundation system in.
But if we were to sell them off as a commercial, not commercial, but for residential properties at some point, what we're doing is satisfactory to meet the needs of that?
It should. It gives you a clean site.
Okay.
I'm just mentioning that worst case scenario, if what we discussed with the city doesn't happen.
Okay.
Quick snapshot on the building project. Epoxy flooring's almost done. There's a couple of little touch-up things. Ceiling tiles are near complete, so as you walk in, the rooms are in a near finished state. Cabinetry and countertops are installing. As the countertops are installing, sinks are going in and that plumbing is connecting. All the lockers are in, or they're going in. The gym floor, the wood floor is in place. It's in the process of being sealed, and it'll get striped and resealed. All that equipment has been in place. Other accessory pieces like grab bars, toilet partitions, mirrors, those things have been sort of filling work as the crews are dancing around from spot to spot. The big priority is to get cabinetry and lockers and big things in place. All the materials that we need for flooring, wall base, carpet, vinyl tile, all of that is on site and ready to be installed. So essentially it's sort of working our way out the front door and out of the building. I believe we have final inspections scheduled for the elevator so that can be final certified. We're working on getting the final occupancy inspections scheduled. We'll actually start punch listing, which is where I go in and start creating the detail lists for the different areas. We'll probably start doing that within the next couple of weeks, and we'll go piece by piece. One thing that may come up is we do have a couple of contracts that if we can punch list their portion of the work, specifically structural steel and precast decking, masonry. I'd like to get those punch listed because technically they've been substantially complete for quite a long time and we're sitting on their retainage. So we may try to start closing out some of those lesser contracts a little more quickly. We won't do that on everything else because people are still on site and working. But a few of these we can start clearing out their contracts.
You want to update the board a little bit as far as what we discussed in terms of the smoke detector system?
Yeah, we're going to see a change order coming, unfortunately. The fire marshal, when he was on site, noted smoke detectors, these guys, They don't have to be in every single room of the building, but they do have to be in the corridors. And they were only in certain strategic points based on what the building code and the fire code say. The additional is based on what the Iowa Administrative Code says, which is an amendment to the building code. The electrical engineer missed it, and he's put together a drawing so that we can get pricing. Once we have pricing, we'll see what it's at. I think everybody was copied on a estimate of Kevin's. I don't know if it's right, wrong, or not. He's usually not too far off. We'll get the engineering here to answer for it. I can't
Okay.
make him pay for it all, but I think he needs to have some skin in it, so.
Mhm.
yeah.
I agree.
We apologize because it's one more headache for you. It can happen quick enough that it should not affect occupancy though, because the fire protection crews haven't come back on site to finish their stuff. A lot of the wiring's in place, but heads are usually one of the later things to go in, because otherwise you have to protect them. But we do need to get a timely move on this, because at a certain point, they do have to test and certify the system, and so it will have an impact on schedule. So we're trying to figure that out. The other thing that you do see starting to pop up is, and Kevin's probably talked about this, we will have some change orders that are going to be a move where we pull some money out of somebody's contract and have to give it to somebody else's.
I think there's several of them on there tonight.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of them in your packets tonight, and it's, because everybody is their own individual contract holder with the district, we can't make them make payments between each other, so contractually they have to do it with the school as the money holder. And so there's gonna be several of those tonight. We'll probably have several on the next board meeting as well. Part of that is getting the contractors to negotiate and agree to this. If they don't, then we have to go this route.
How soon do you anticipate up front the grading process with Balkinstead starting?
Pretty quick. We have the civil engineer is making the revision drawings for unifying it as one straight off parking lot with a single in and a single out. As soon as she has that, he'll adjust any pricing that needs to be adjusted, and he'll be ready to move on it. The other thing is, I don't know, the trees have to go, and so I think, like the trees down there will start disappearing, the ditch is gonna get partially filled in, so you'll see that happen here pretty quick. Once that paving is in place, then that's the real last barrier on the exterior for occupancy. Sorry for talking fast, I know you guys got it.
Yeah.
No,
What
that's
questions do you
fine.
have for John? I'd like to have John, I don't know what your schedule's like in April when we go over these bids and whatnot, but I know by that point too, gosh, we'll be a lot closer to completion too.
Yeah, and I don't mind coming back for like the next work session if you guys want a tour or something like that.
Okay. Okay. Well, I don't know how the smoke detector system goes too, we might have a meeting on that as well. so.
Yeah, that may take a special meeting, to be honest with you,
Okay.
because we're gonna have to take action quickly,
Okay.
because it does have an impact on the construction schedule.
All right, well, keep us in the loop via email and we'll
Will do,
communicate that way if that's all right.
and again, I apologize that I have to answer for it, so
Thank you.
we'll try to get it in shape.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, John.
All right,
Thank you very much.
anything else before I walk out the door?
I don't think so. The sheet that we always have, I mean, it's always self-explanatory usually, and I think
Okay.
we don't, unless anybody has any questions on that Kevin
Yeah.
always gives us, I think we really appreciate that. But
Okay.
it's, looks good.
Okay.
The only question that may not be for you, it's the window in the timeout room, what's going on with that? Is that rejected, we're not gonna have a window, or is there
No,
a different plan?
The contractor gave us an astronomical price for what we
Mhm.
need. Joe Raggets, the actual piece that you want to put in is, I think you can do for less than $200, so
Okay,
Joe's gonna do it, because
Okay.
they wanted,
Ordered that.
they wanted something with 4 digits.
Yeah, exactly. It was like,
okay, so
Oh,
it's
my
a cost
word.
thing, it's not that it's not gonna,
No,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
it's just purely.
we have to have a window It's
Yeah.
just, it's more economical for us to install it versus having a professional.
No, it makes
Not
sense.
that, we're not professionals, or Joe's not, but you know what I'm saying?
It's-
Yeah.
The problem is they're charging for the convenience of being on site already.
Mhm.
They didn't give you any benefit for the fact that they have workforce here. They,
Really?
we did check the pricing, and it's, I think it's under $200 for materials.
At a zero, and that's what theirs would have been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
No, that's a great question, but no, we
Yeah.
have to have a window, it's
Yeah.
illegal.
And we're also getting to the point where we're processing some of the last unneeded things, so there'll be some small credits coming
All right.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, John.
All right.
We'll
be in
Thank you
touch.
very much.
Yep. Let me know if anything comes up with the city that you need.
Okay, yeah, we'll do
Thanks,
that.
everybody.
Thank
All right, thank you. All right.
Justin is going to go over,
Justin.
it's number 14 on the individual action items. It's the third page, the wireless infrastructure bids.
I mean,
So since
nothing
the,
here?
Yeah, it should be on there too.
yeah, it's on there too, yeah. You might have to blow it up because it's
Well,
small. But, so what it is, I bid out this year for wireless, replace the wireless infrastructure because with the new building coming in place, E-rate, which is, they give us money back on certain things. They give us money back, we get a percentage back from free and reduced for internet. We used to get it back from telephone, that is going away. They are now giving us money for infrastructure costs. So we get a certain dollar amount per student times, it's like $150 times whatever our population is, then we get 60% of that. And that's just our free and reduced. That's where we usually sit at 60%. Some schools are higher, some schools are lower, it depends on where you are. So anyway, most of this that's in front of you should actually get paid for. But the way we're going to do it is we got 4 bids. I don't actually have a piece of paper. Probably should have. You have it, Joy? Sorry. Okay. So I got 4 bids. One of them, zones at the bottom, as you can see, I disqualified. They actually only submitted half of their bid, and they submitted the actual labor after the date. So if you did, you're done. I put those rules in place. Everything else is, everything was based on actually not money, but score. Percentage. What I did is E-rate requires us to make a rubric. So, highest percentage had to be cost. So I put that at 40%. And then I had 3 other things that equaled 30%, 20%, 10%. So it equaled 100%. It just so happens that the lowest cost was Combined Systems Tech. They're out of, I think, Des Moines. They were right at $56,000. And that will cover both buildings. So it is a complete wipe and replace.
What does it mean added control, redundant controller?
They put in an added that if we buy a redundant controller, it's $60,371.
That's for the total cost then.
But here's where we get burned. That's the added controller has to be at our cost because of the way E-rate does it. You have to, when you file for E-rate, I would have had to put 2 controllers that I wanted. I only put 1 controller. That's not explained. So I just rounded really high on the access points, and I got lucky on that one. So if I would have put, just for instance, if I would have put 60 access points in, E-rate would only pay for 60. They would have not paid for anything above that. So I put one controller in, that's all use, our E-rate will give us money back for it.
But if you have the second controller, it's not $60,000 for the second controller, it's the total project becomes $60,000, okay.
So, so yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy. Difference between wave 1 and wave 2 is the new standard has, they actually implemented different hardware. Wave 2, of course, is the latest and greatest. And realistically, with the cost, it's not that far off from wave 1. We'd be kind of we'd be better off to go with wave 2. So I guess my recommendation is to go with combined systems tech for the total amount of $56,189.77 for the wireless. If we do not get approved by E-rate, and I've talked to Stacy about this, we will split that. We will buy the controller and the access points that are bound for the elementary, and we will have to wait until next year or whenever E-rate approves us to do this for me. So hopefully, last year everybody was approved and they actually transferred a few million over to this year, so we should be okay. I say that, but you know, everybody has so far been approved for funding. That's it.
I'm gonna ask an ignorant
Yeah.
question. So how much will E-rate cover of this 56,000?
It's $150. What it is $150 times our student population. Okay. Then our average is 60%. So if we get $75,000, we get 60% of that $75,000. We can spend it all in one lump sum, or we can spend some and leave some for later if we need to do infrastructure costs later. You know, mainly we need a rock-solid wireless network. I don't
So-
know where else we would spend money, so.
Just so the
which-
board knows, that's how we're funding this, is through the E-rate piece.
It should pretty much pay for itself. I mean, E-rate.
That's what I thought, but I just.
We have to, E-rate's always a year behind, sorry.
Right.
So we have to pay for it
Pay
this
for
year,
it,
and then July 1st of next year, I can file for, or whoever can file, and then have the
July
money
1st of
reimbursed.
2017.
Yes. So we always, that first year is always a killer,
Yeah.
because we always have to pay for it out of pocket. But then after that, we get refunded back, so.
Okay.
Any
Just
questions?
wanted to
Yeah, good, no,
Okay.
yeah,
bring that
that's
to
good
light.
to know. All right.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on. No recognition.
Hey, I would like to recognize a 30-year employee that was the last
Oh,
place. Stacy Kirkland is
yes.
surprisingly, with her youthful appearance, has only been here 30 years.
Only 30 years. Yay, Stacy. All right, with that, Stacy, business financial functions, please.
Okay, is there any questions on any of the taxation funds, which is item number 7? And grouping, any questions or comments on any of those? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to number 8, instructional support. Top of the second page is what's left in each area. Any questions or comments? Number 9, self-insurance. The fund breakdown between medical, dental, and vision on the lower left-hand corner. And we still have not moved any of the medical money for the year into this account. It's still all sitting in general fund. Any questions or comments? 10 is latchkey. Their actual usage from January to February overall went up. I did have the budget meeting with Sarah and Lori, and we're well aware that we're spending into the funds, but remember, latchkey funds can only be spent on the latchkey program. And I had Lori go back and look, and prices have not been raised since 2008. So I doubt that there are probably any other daycares in the area that have not raised prices since 2008. So we'll continue to watch that, and you'll see there's already verbiage in their handbook, and I think they're going to tweak it a little bit, but it's possible we may have to raise the rates, but we're not going to do it for the summer, and we'll look at where we are towards the end of the summer for the school year and go from there. And they're going to have to buy some things for their new site also, but the only things they can spend that money on are the latchkey program. So
Do you foresee it being a lot, that they're gonna, would have to raise it, or just a
No.
little, a
No.
smidge to?
And it may not be till the second semester.
Okay,
We're gonna let it ride and see,
okay,
I'd like to see utilization of the new building.
see where we go,
Yeah.
so.
right, we may not,
Well, the one thing with the new building, they may have a lower cap at how many they can take also.
oh,
So it will depend. DHS will have to come in, but if they can use the gymnasium and they have access to that every day after school till 5, then we should be comparable. Because the locations I look at right now are the cafeteria, the gym, and the latchkey building for how many kids they can have.
Now we have designated spaces, you know.
correct.
And so their new room is much smaller than the latchkey building, but then if they have access to that gym until 5. So, but anyway, we're well aware that we're spending into the balance, and we all agreed that we don't want to raise prices until we have to.
Okay.
So, grade vendor report is number 11 for latchkey. You can see they don't spend their money frivolously. It's almost all salaries and then insurance by the director. 12, nutrition fund program report, usage on the first page, financials on the second. And as I mentioned, always this time of the year, the balance should start going up a little bit because they'll be paying 3 months of salaries to pay off contracts in June. Any questions or comments? Number 13 is a period vendor report for nutrition fund. Number 14, first page is the activity fund report. Play was just this past weekend, and according to Joy's calculations today, they will still be about $88 in the red, so we'll need to address that. Robotics Club, still waiting for that grant, looking at the negative accounts. And then Spring Canteen, basically bought inventory from Winter Canteen, and obviously Spring Canteen has not begun yet, so those would be addressing the negatives. Page 2, have the Farm Enterprise, Architect Spending Account, and Agency Fund. Any questions or comments on any of those? Grade vendor reports are attached, which is item number 15. Let's see how all of those funds had money spent during the month of February. Co-curricular driving report for February and March. Athletics at the top, classrooms in the middle, and then the Special Olympics one, which we recoup all the costs for that, including mileage. Driver breakdown at the bottom. Any questions or comments? And next, number 17, extra payroll. Extra payroll goes a couple of pages. This one. Anything not already on the contract, submitted for payment is on this list. Any questions about any of the extra payroll? And then number 18, we have the bills. Go down to all the general fund bills for the first 6 or 7 pages. And then starting on page 7, have the building construction expenses, and going back to Rob's question, if you look under, it's on page 7, the BMO MasterCard 3400. The wide angle door viewers. That's what we purchased instead of the $1,000 window for $60. And Joe will install them.
I assured the board it will be professionally installed by you, Joe. Will not be a drop in professionalism.
We're pretty confident that won't leave any blind spots.
Yes.
I talked to Steve Kelly on all that and everything. All you gotta do is be able to see in there,
Sure.
so that you can, if there's a problem, being you gotta hold the door open anyway. If you think there's any kind of problem, all you do is let your hand off and open the door. Because the way these work, you cannot, the door handle, you have to hold down to keep it locked.
Sure.
The minute you let go of the door handle, it unlocks. You can't lock the door. So a person literally has to stand there and hold the door. So if they look in and see any kind of problem. So, we are moving the light switch, though. They have a light switch in there. I said, no, that ain't gonna work. You can't have it where they can sit there and play with the light switch, so they're gonna put it up in the ceiling so that it'll come on and they won't be able to reach up there and mess with it.
Then page 8 is the 1-cent sales tax expenditures for the month. Any questions or comments on any of the board bills?
Nope.
Make a motion to approve the bills.
Second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Stacy.
Are there any questions for the principals? After looking through their reports tonight? See new kindergarten days this Friday. We have 64 signed up currently. 68?
Yay!
Wow, better than what your report said.
Woo!
It's Thursday.
Keep them coming.
Good
I
job.
like it.
Beating the bushes. Good job. All right. And
Conferences were last week,
then, yeah.
2 weeks. High
Oh,
school.
yeah.
Has these no percentages in there anymore, so Ken doesn't feel bad.
Well, you're right. We're over 95 and we're not done yet. See, this is why that'll never work, because the majority of the elementary teachers, if they don't see the parents, they try to make them up. So
Yeah. So it's always
they
going
have
to
that
be.
ability to, yeah.
Sorry, Ken. It's
The
just-
numbers are up this year. Seventh grade had a good year with 65%. Everyone
That
else,
is good.
Good.
a couple went down 2 or 3%, a couple went up 2 or 3%. So
Good.
actually,
Okay.
it wasn't a total wash. Don't print that. It
Good.
was a great night. Numbers are up.
Great. All right.
Okay.
Athletics. All right.
All right.
Any questions? Let's move on to action items.
And see the resignations there, people, basically the resignations are just people that are moving on to different positions. Recommending the one transfer from the elementary special ed, Mr. Gabe Warren, to the 712. And then job descriptions, the at-risk coordinator. In keeping, I don't know, nerd that I am, we approved the at-risk coordinator last year as well because we redid how we structured the primary, we don't have the primary interventionist anymore, we just have the at-risk piece. So if you think, gosh, we just looked at this, we did last year, but to keep it in the 4-year cycle. That's why it fell this month.
Move we approve consent agenda number 1.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda number 2, which is policy.
Yeah, I have no recommendations in terms of any tweaks this month. Now, it's interesting, we talked about the student transportation eligibility, recently in one of our work sessions, but you can see from the state law there is 2 miles for elementary, 3 for the older kids. But do you guys have any individual questions on any of the policies? Nope.
Move to approve consent agenda number 2.
Second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda number 3. SiAC.
Yep, the first one is SiAC meeting, which is that Wednesday night, March 30th. You can see the agenda there. 2, 3, and 4, well, 2 and 3, excuse me, are the 2080 agreements with L&M for bowling, and then Muscatine swimming, tennis, and soccer. Even if we don't have students to participate, we still approve the agreement in case we do have a student that, decides to next fall. At one time, we had a 2080 agreement with Tipton for girls swimming, but since we've been with Muscatine. Tipton still have enough girls for swim team? Is there numbers we're going down to?
Doesn't have those?
What, the agreement?
Yeah.
No, it's just,
No,
basically
it's-
anymore, it's online.
Oh,
Mr.
okay.
Crawford goes in and
Okay.
checks a box, and the board approved it.
Okay.
All right.
Number 4 is the second reading of policy 508.1, which we've talked about the last couple months as far as gifts, grants, and requests. And then number 5, I'll have Stacy talk about is district audit that was completed. Was she here in November? Or October? October.
You
CPAK.
can- It's very long, so you can review it and let me know if you have any questions, but a couple things I wanted to point out. On page 71, as always, we get dinged for segregation of duties. We're never gonna have enough employees in our office to segregate duties like they want us to. Page 72, business transactions with Tony and Linda, since they're board members, and so that's listed. And then both on 71 and 73 with the CAR, there were 2 things this year. One with our construction. When I did what was payable from July for June, because at the end of the year you change everything to modified accrual accounting. I did put everything that we had to pay for in July that had been completed on June 30th, but I did not include all the retainage costs. I honestly didn't even think about it. It's not common from what we normally do. And it's not like we didn't have the money for the $200,000 in retainage that was sitting there, but that's listed. And then fiscal year 15 was the first year for GASB 668, which is an IBRS pension issue, which in a nutshell, it basically has to do with if IBRS went under, what would the pension liability be, which we wouldn't pay anyway, so I'm not really, GASB 68 is kind of confusing, but it was the test year for it, and I had all the data, had it entered, didn't get posted, state did not have a check for that. And when I called the state about it, they said, don't worry about it. We didn't even have any checks in there. This was our test year. Next year is going to be our important year, but she still put it in the audit. So just to let you know that. And then on page 74, Lord, I can't even read my writing. Oh, operational sharing. She talks about our operational sharing and thanks us for not having what she deemed adequate time showing our sharing between maintenance director, guidance counselor, and transportation director.
We just need to log our hours, that was
Log
the
it.
issue.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just need to have that logged, so.
So those were the main things, but overall, very good audit, so. Good. So if you have any questions or comments after you look at it further, don't hesitate to contact Tony.
Back to that operational sharing piece, what was interesting, they collected it from Durant. And so actually, when Kay was here, I talked to her about that. So I said, well, do you need ours? No, we have it from Durant, so maybe we just need to have a copy on file. Because they do back and forth, but just a technicality.
All right.
So that's basically what I have about that, so.
Motion to approve consent agenda number 3.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Individual action items.
See the first one, It's pretty lengthy. But it's for the bid process with the demolition. If you don't want to read the whole thing, you can say I move to approve item number 1 as stated. Actually, you can do that for all of them if you choose to, but number 1 is pretty long.
All right, I'll motion to approve the individual action items 1 as stated in the agenda.
Second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. The rest are change orders, correct?
Yep, that's what John was talking about
2
earlier.
through 11, okay.
Motion to approve change order BP-A5.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. On to 3.
Motion to approve change order BP-A6.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. On to 4.
Motion to approve change order BP-C6.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Number 5.
Motion to approve change order BP-C7.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Number 6.
Motion to approve change order BP-F3.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Number 7.
Move to approve change order BP-M17.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Number 8.
Motion to approve change order BP-M18.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Number 9.
Motion to approve change order BP-N8.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Number 10.
Motion to approve change order BP-N9.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Number 11.
Motion to approve change order BP-N10.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. All right,
Very
12, then,
Number 12, and Joe can address this too, it's additional playground area concrete bids. When we met with the maintenance committee at our last meeting, we talked about a couple bid areas, actually, a couple areas. One with the swings.
One at the little kids playground right in back where the kindergarten, first graders, preschool will be playing. We're looking to have, or want to add swings to that area. So the concrete bid is for a 60 by 28 concrete pad that has to be put there for the swings. And then there'll be a bid for the actual swings and the rubber that go on that. And the other concrete bid is up by the other playground to the east side of the cement playground that's up there now. It will fill up just about that whole area there with a 130 by 75 pad, which we would be able to then have a couple of basketball courts and give us room for some four square and that kind of stuff. So we have a nice big concrete area, especially for this first year because we're going to have lack of grass, so to speak. So that's what the concrete is what we're looking at.
Very good. And the bids, Joe received 2 bids, one from Jake Hoekstra. And if you look at the page, if you're on the correct page, it's $44,339 for his bid, and All American Concrete for $48,160. So it's our recommendation for Jake Hoekstra to be awarded the bid.
okay.
And this is coming from the construction budget still, or is this coming, what's paying for this?
Right now, our plan is to take it out of the construction budget, which we have. So yes.
Motion to approve the bid by Hoekstra Masonry for $44,339.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. On to the swings and rubber padding.
Yep, you can see 2 bids there. One from National Playground, who is doing the other work out there, and then one from Play and Park Structures. You can see the National Playground bid is at $24,775. And then the play and park structures one is at $32,062. I'd recommend the lower, the $24,775. So that's a win-win. It's a lower bid and it's also concurrent with who we're currently using.
Move we approve the bid from National Playground.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. On to the wireless infrastructure bids.
As Justin presented earlier, he's recommending combined tech, that wave 2. At $56,189.77. And I support that.
A motion to approve the bid for combined systems tech for $56,289.77.
A second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, informational discussion items.
You can see our 3 hirings that have taken place since our February meeting. Kate Costigan for the high school Spanish, Nicole Rushing for the Ag Ed, and Kara Proctor for elementary special ed. And I know Mr. Crawford and Mrs. Austin and their staffs have been very busy with the number of interviews that are going on and will continue to go on. So ideally, it'd be nice by the April board meeting to have everything in place that we know of, unless there's, a resignation that we're unexpectedly, that we'll get unexpectedly, so. Under maintenance, Denise, I hope this is okay, I can say it, but I wanted to mention this with the swings and the PTO's involvement. I'd like to throw them a carrot here and say, hey, thank you to them because they've agreed to donate $10,000 toward this swing project behind the school bar. So we really appreciate the PTO's generosity with that. Anything up from the pool board?
Need another allocation. More money.
Yeah, we want more money. We had a meeting and we got to get a tour of the pool, which I thought was very nice. We walked around and they showed us things and we talked about stuff, so that was nice.
Good.
Yep.
All right, legislatively, nothing. The REC committee, revenue estimating committee's convening on the 16th. And then the legislative branches feel that it can make a decision on allowable growth, but
Yeah.
who knows? Very frustrating. Once again, we're in that.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Nothing under Goodwill, miscellaneous. Looking ahead, oh, I did want to mention under Goodwill, it was really nice having Dr. Ryan Weiss come visit the school here a couple weeks ago. I thought he really enjoyed his visit, and he took back some good things to Des Moines, and he will be following up with some of the professional development pieces from school administrators of Iowa. Matter of fact, the gal from SI is coming tomorrow. So, anyway, it just reinforces some of the things we thought were going well, that they recognize that too. Mr. Crawford is doing some things.
You're talking at the school board convention next year, won't it?
There you go.
Main stage.
In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
You can see our dates to remember. Interest-based bargaining on the 28th. We have to have a special meeting at 6 p.m. following that. That doesn't mean it'll start necessarily right at 6, but if I were to put 6:30 and our interest-based bargaining gets done early, you can always start after the 6 p.m. date, but not before, or time, I should say.
Yes.
So we have that, and a special meeting with the budget to set the hearing and Stacy present the budget to the board. SIAC's the same week on that Wednesday at 6. And I put work session TBA. We talked at our February work session just to see what happens this month, because that's our work session typically would be on that Wednesday, March 30th.
Correct.
But because we're meeting that Monday for IBB and everything else going on, it'll kind of be up in the air.
Okay.
But otherwise, our next regular meeting's on April 11th at 5:30 here in the media center. And we got done in time. We still have 10 minutes to get to City Hall.
Yay.
So good work.
I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
Moved.
Second?
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
All right. We'll see everybody downtown.
See you guys.